Is your husband trying to kill you? Now, this is just the quote that came to my head after I spoke to a woman who really wanted to improve her health. She was struggling with diabetes, with being 50 pounds overweight, and she mentioned that she knew that going towards a more whole food, plant-based diet, cutting out the processed foods, cutting out more of the meats, the animal products, that would be good and supportive for her health. But at the same time, she said that her husband was not on board with the health changes. She was her caregiver, she was the caregiver for her husband, I should say, and she mentioned that it would be hard for her to cook multiple meals, which I've understood from hearing from multiple women, many mothers, many wives, many caregivers. And that quote came to me, and it's not that the husband is trying to kill her, but in her mind, if she were to ask her husband, I would like to take care of my health, to take control of my health, to invest in my well-being, work one-on-one with somebody that has the knowledge and information to support me through healthy dietary change and habit change. And the reason that she was not able to move forward is that her husband was not on board. And I'm not going to name names here, but this quote is something I heard back to back on calls, was that I'm waiting for my husband to die, because while he's alive, I don't have the energy to both care for him and care for myself. And that's really sad to hear on my end. Sad to know that there are women that want to improve themselves, that want to lose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or more pounds, that want to get out of the range of diabetes and want to heal their gut, but they're stuck cooking food for their husbands who they'll never eat a vegetable in their lives. They want to continue to eat what they've eaten. And in this woman's particular case, her husband had just had a triple bypass. So the diet and lifestyle that brings us to a heart attack, that requires surgical intervention and requires our life being tied to the medical system. If we do not make a change as we age, our family and friends come along with us on that ride. And I often consider who will be the person that I can help the most, and that when they change the most people. And it's the women. It's the women that prepare food for their husbands, for their friends, for their community and family. It's the women that are okay with eating more vegetables, eating more beans and whole grains, and realizing that cooking and creating recipes are fun and engaging, especially if you have the right tools and resources, and if you know that eating those foods is going to help you achieve a lot better health throughout your life. So I want you to think about that question. Is your husband trying to kill you? Well, he's probably not trying to kill you. Speaking as a man, we're not trying to kill our girlfriends or wives, but through our stubbornness, through our decisions that we have power over. Maybe in certain situations, husbands have financial power over their wives. They're able to decide, in this particular case, I'll pay for the food, but you need to cook me a certain meal, right? And so when we're in this power over mentality where, especially if you're a woman that your husband has financial resources, but he doesn't share them with you, and you're struggling and you think that if you advocate for yourself and you advocate for your needs, that you won't be supported. This is a thought that may be true, but it also may not be true, because you have power, right? In a relationship, whether you have money or not in the relationship, you have power because you provide a lot of needs. You provide care, you provide food, connection, support, cleanliness, shelter, supporting family and being there when those are sick and needing help, right? So you have value, and you can use that as a bargaining chip to advocate for yourself and your needs. So are we going to let our husbands tell us that we're not able to move forward with our health? I want you to ask that question for yourself right now, because there really are two types of women out there. Those that say, my husband won't let me do this, so I can't join your program, I can't improve my health. And those that say, my husband's not letting me do this, my husband is chronically sick, I don't want to end up like my husband. If he dies in the next few years and leaves me alone, what am I going to do if I'm just as sick as him? Who will take care of me? I cannot afford to push this off 5, 10 years and wait for him to die so that I actually take care of my health. I need to do something now and in the moment. And what can I do to find the resources to support myself? The time, the energy, the finances to get one-on-one support. I want you to ask yourself, which woman do you want to be? So I want to also empathize with the husbands. I don't want your husband to watch this video and think I'm talking that all men, all husbands are bad or wrong. It's that we're scared. You know, society has raised us to value eating meat, animal products, burgers. It's not valued us to like certain colors. If you're a man and you like the color pink or purple, some people are told that's gay. What are pink and purple? Flowers, berries, things that are very cancer killing, by the way. You know, men are told to enjoy the burgers and women are told you can eat more salads, right? So we have conditioned men, and especially if you're in your 60s and 70s, a lot of men of this age have been conditioned in a way where they are not supported in their health, in their dietary well-being, and these norms that we've been given as a society are not serving us. So I want you to ask yourself, are you going to let your husband limit your health? Are you going to let him decide what you do for yourself? And if you're wanting to improve your health, I hope that you reach out. I hope that you see what a program could look like so that in a month, 2 months, 3 months, your life looks drastically different. You're able to lose the weight you've wanted to lose for the past 25 years. You're able to not rely on medications for a daily basis. And when your retirement could be spent traveling and enjoying time outside, you're inside, you're dizzy, you're running from doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment. The doctors are not speaking to one another, and life is utter chaos. These are the paths that you can choose. You can choose an enjoyable retirement, but you cannot do that if you're sacrificing yourself for your husband. So I want to end with a beautiful word that is not in the English dictionary. It was given to me by Marshall Rosenberg. We're taught that you're either selfish or you're selfless. And we tell women, if you take care of yourself, if you don't cook me my food, you're selfish. You know, but what about being self-full? What about acting in a way that meets your needs? Because if you're not meeting your needs, you cannot help others. So I want you to consider that word and see what you can do to be more self-full so that you can meet your needs. It's not about putting yourself before all other people, but if you don't put your mask on before putting the mask on others, everybody dies. So wishing you a lot of health and a lot of luck as we move into 2026. Wishing you a happy and healthy new year. But so Steph, I mean, like, what advice would you give women who are with somebody that is not supporting their health and well-being? You know, what would you share with them?
Well, I think it depends on each situation is going to be totally unique. And I think the most important thing is to really reclaim our power of choice and sovereignty and choosing to make decisions for yourself, because those will inherently begin to shift the behavior of everyone around them. And I think really just setting the stage for finding common ground, for feeling understood by your partner, your husband, your family, so that it's just clear and starting to shift the relationship in general.
Nice.
It's challenging.